Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining Ray and DivineScarlet for another segment of what we like to talk about. Today, I don't know if it's going to be much about astrology or what, but one of the things coming up, because it is a Mercury retrograde right now, is I feel like people are coming and saying that they think that they're not going, they're feeling blocked right now, which is a totally normal type of thing to have happen during a Mercury retrograde. um and then somebody told me this morning that she was feeling blocked from her good, and that's one of my main ideas I like to teach, is that what's yours is yours. Like, nobody can take away what's yours. And I like that affirmation, that you always get what is yours, and I think it's more of an idea of learning to be more deserving. Just because you're held back for a certain amount of time doesn't mean you're not going to get it. Maybe you're going to get it in a better or different way than you think that it's going to be. But I know Mercury retrograde can be annoying. And at this point, I'm like, what you gonna do? Just learn to laugh after a while, instead of getting all upset that things aren't working, things are delayed. Another person came to me this morning pissed off because he wasn't going to be able to leave the country because his passport's still not here. And it's just like, these things happen, and we can't take them so personally. And we even this weekend, I was supposed to not even be here, and I was supposed to go to Sequoia, but due to the fires, it was canceled. So these are just some of the ideas and things that end up happening during a Mercury retrograde. How do you feel, Ray?
Well, I mean, wow. Okay, so like before I begin, she didn't even tell me what this subject was going to be. She just pressed record and started talking. So, but I mean, I'm frustrated too right now for obvious reasons. Facebook literally closed my account down today for no reason. So that's a little frustrating. But, everything happens for a reason. And I'm going to hold on to that truth. Maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise, in the future. I don't see how or why right now. And it's frustrating. And, it feels like I've had the rug pulled from underneath me. But there is a bigger picture to this thing. And now I'm researching alternative ways of getting my message out there without being dependent on Facebook or other platforms, which could serve me better in the long run. So I think it's important to be in tune with the big picture of all things. There is a big picture to everything that happens. So even something as simple as not being able to go to Sequoia because of the fires, maybe something would have happened. If you did go to Sequoia, maybe the universe is protecting you from something. You just don't know. Just being so many instances where somebody's missed their flight because of this, that, or the other reason, and the plane has crashed, for example. Like, things like that happen as well. So you just gotta trust the way life unfolds, even though at times you may not like the way it's unfolded. It may not be unfolded in the way that you want it to or expect it to, but you've just got to go with the flow. And that's what surrender is all about. I've got to start a new Facebook account now, build it from scratch again. But that's just the way it is.
It is. And you might actually be right about that whole Sequoia trip being canceled. It was one of those volatile sort of feelings anyway. And I was already getting stressed out about having what ended up happening is it was going to be like the, not an anniversary, but the day that we set to go and spread my stepfather's ashes with his family, which is very, very volatile situation no matter what. And to get those many kids together and my family together was already starting to stress me out. So I think, later, there might be less feelings about it. I mean, right now everything still feels a little bit tense regarding that whole issue. So when you said that to me, it made sense to me.
Yeah, because the higher self knows. I say this a lot, especially in my book, that the higher self knows that what we don't, it can see what we can't see. Because it's existing on a plane beyond linearity, so it has that foresight. It can see into the future, basically. And the higher self is ultimately what creates our reality. And if it's nudging you in a different direction than you expect, you just got to trust in that inner guidance. You've got to trust in the way the universe unfolds, because it knows what you don't. And there is no unknown to the higher self. So if you just trust in that, life will be a lot easier, I feel. Because resisting it, I mean, I'll be honest, I was really frustrated yesterday, especially about my account being blocked. But what is resisting it going to do? What are the benefits of that? Of me just sitting in my home, bitter, at Mark Zuckerberg for what's happened? What's the point? Why would I want to waste my life, any minutes of my life, doing that? It doesn't solve any problems, and I'm only going to be able to think creatively and conjure up new ways of going about things if I'm in a calm state. So, I've just accepted that this is the reality that it is right now, and yeah.
Honestly, I've never experienced anything like that on Facebook before till like the whole Trump era. As much as I love them shutting down Trump, it was like the beginning to me. And I don't know if actually this happened to you pre that whole era, but where I really start seeing censoring, and it seems like everything's being censored now. So what might have seemed like really cool to me at the beginning, and now everybody's talking about, oh, like we're heading down another communist path, especially with these COVID shots and they having to show your vaccination everywhere you go. Is that actually really, it's something that we need to do, and I realize people are like, oh, we should do it because, it's helping other people. But at the same time, we're putting ourselves in that little box, we're putting ourselves in that box. And to me, it's like, things happen all around you all the time. And this is another thing I wanted to bring up today is like, how much are we being allowed, or are we actually choosing to not be a puppet? Like when I say puppet, I mean like one thing can go bad in your life and you turn into, oh my God, the rest of my day is just horrible now, because you're in that reactive state. Right. And so now you're like, associating the I and the ego with me, I am in a bad mood and I, am just hateful now. So, and then it ruins the entire day, maybe week, who knows. But this is one thing that I really like to talk about with the people I counsel and my students is learning how that reactive state just trickles down, and really you're giving your power to something else, to someone else, or something else. And if anybody actually thought about it in that way, I don't think anybody would say, I like that idea of giving my power away.
Well, it's not even just that. There's different levels to it. But also, like, everyone gets triggered. Whether you get triggered or not is not a problem, because you're a human being, you're an emotional being. So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with initially being triggered. But how long you stay triggered is your responsibility. How long, Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it the refractory period. When you're in a negative state, how long you keep holding on to that negative state, that's the refractory period. And the whole point of his work, and ultimately every spiritual teacher's work, in my opinion, is shortening those periods. So you're not holding on to bitterness and resentment for days, potentially even weeks and months. You recognize what it's there to teach you, and then you just move on. You just move on. That's it. And a lot of people have a difficult time doing that. of course, but that's what emotional intelligence is all about.
When I was going through school about learning how to be non-reactionary, and learning about the ego and all that, I was in it for 2 years, and I am an Aries at the 0 degrees Mars. I mean, what can I say? Part of me, yeah, I am reactionary. So I've really, really had to learn to grow out of it. But I remember being really triggered by one of my old roommates. He had gone through my stuff on purpose to piss me off. And I got really mad, and I was like, okay, I'm moving out this day. And I wasn't really friends with him. It was through work, like a coworker who hooked me up with this place that I just really needed at that moment. I would have never chosen it otherwise, but it ended up working out for just, a few months, and it was in the area I liked, whatever. So my version of at that time, which was probably about 6 years ago now, I thought to myself, I want to smash his painting. I want to smash his painting.
Did you do it?
I did it. But I thought about it 3 times. I thought about it 3 times before I did it. And that, even in that, that made me feel like, wow, you're a different Melissa, even though I did it because I wanted to do it. And when I saw him mad, and I was like, cool, like now you feel like you know what it feels like, which is, I'm not saying do that, guys. I'm saying do not do that. Don't listen to me. But I'm saying this might be like some kind of ideas where when you're learning that you're actually taking these mini baby steps into not just doing the first thing you think, but thinking about them little by little. I like that story though. I think it's funny.
Melissa, everyone,